My name is Sujot. I am the founding and executive director of SumRec, which is for young Sikh women in the Seattle area. I've taught in BC, at West Coast Youth Alliance, in Renton, Seattle, and down in the Bay Area. Students aged 8 to 30 plus.
Perfect.
Ranging levels in different subject areas, mostly predominantly about community building and alternative modes of self-realization and connection.
Perfect.
Question is, how do I feel about classroom education versus organic learning style? And, well, one, thinking about organic learning styles, I think that space has been developed because of lack of classroom space for students to learn about themselves or about what they want to learn about, or in the educational models that their communities bring to the table. It's a certain mode that you learn in the classroom, a certain type where education standards are set for you and you have to reach those. Standardized testing that has to do with funding, things like that. While in organic learning, it's a lot different because students can bring a lot of their own personal education to the table and their own styles, which I think is a huge benefit, because sometimes as educators or as facilitators, we never think of those sort of modes, and that if we give students opportunity to really have the space to bring their style into the classroom, it not only benefits themselves, the facilitator, but also the other students. Going, oh, what I know is actually valid, and
So do you feel
meaningful.
do you think that you think there's room for both of them? You think they should be done in an order? Well, I mean, like how would you like to see if you had your I'm the queen of the world cap on, and you wanted, and you could say this is how it's going to be done? How could you envision it being done where it would where you think it would be the most beneficial?
I think it'd be a combination.
Yeah.
Because there are certain standards that, certain levels that we have to push our students to reach, and that they don't necessarily know about that, just from my own personal experience, unless you kind of have an idea of the direction that you want to go or get students to think about. There's no way that you can properly facilitate a conversation or an activity without being like, all right, you know, this is the kind of direction I want to go in. But that doesn't mean that that should be like where you limit the education to, right? I mean, even in facilitation of, like, you know, organic learning, there's still sort of like, all right, this is a planning that I have to put into it. This is kind of what I want to do, a roadmap, but that flexibility, I think, is really valuable, but flexibility without the structure of understanding where we need to be as a community or as where the students need to be, that's a disservice.
Try to keep it out of that conveyor belt learning that you were talking about earlier, you know. And I feel like you said you brought up some interesting points where you're talking about the students that were coming over from India that were kind of getting to you said they were getting to a point, and then they were kind of thrust into that whole conveyor belt mode. I don't know.
So they are pushed to a certain level and they have to pass certain exams, and so most of their education is through like regurgitation. But what they're finding once they get past like standard 10, which is like, you know, senior year for them and things like that, is that they don't have the critical thinking skills that their employers really want them to have. So even as we like outsource jobs to India and things like that, and they're trying to come over here for a better life, they don't have those critical thinking skills or those collaboration skills because of the system that's set up over there, which is set up as like a British system that, oh, we have to reach certain standards, and once we get to a point, we either go arts, sciences, and that's about it.
And they don't have room to move after that.
There's not room to move after that, or if there is, there's a lot of cultural pressure that comes upon it, saying, oh, you have to be doctor, engineer, lawyer, things like that, and not really pushing the student towards their strengths. It's more about, this is where I want you to be in order to succeed. And, oh, you're kind of good at this? Okay, that's fine, but this is really what it means to succeed or be, you know, have, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Leave it at that.
Perfect.